There's a reason so many successful women are doing everything right. They've stopped hustling, built their systems, and even stepped into their CEO role. Yet they're more exhausted than ever. What no one is talking about is a hidden capacity problem that shows up right before seven figures. And if you don't fix it, scaling actually makes things worse. Hi, and welcome to the You World Order Showcase podcast, where we feature life, health, transformational coaches, and spiritual entrepreneurs stepping up to be the change they seek in the world. I'm your host, Jill Hart, the Coach's Alchemist, on a mission to empower coaches and spiritual entrepreneurs to amplify their voice, monetize their mission, and get visible. If you're ready to start attracting premium clients without chasing algorithms or hunting people down like a banshee on a mission, head on over to coachesalchemist.com and schedule your free client acquisition audit. It's the first step to building a business where your clients seek you out rather than you having to hunt them down. Today, we are chatting with Lia Dunlap. Leah is an intuitive business architect and founder of Oracle on Purpose, LLC, with over 28 years of experience. She helps women entrepreneurs and wellness leaders scale to seven figures by combining strategic business systems with deep energetic and intuitive recalibration. Her work empowers founders to step into aligned leadership, overcome burnout, and build businesses rooted in purpose, prosperity, and sustainable success. Welcome to the show, Leah. It's great to have you with us today.
Thank you, Jill. I'm so excited to be here. And this is such a great topic. I'm so glad that we get to talk about it today.
I love when we can talk about the thing that just lights you up.
Totally.
So, what's the most significant thing, in your opinion, as individuals we can do to make the world a better place?
Mm. The one thing I think that everyone can do as individuals to make the world a better place is to really understand that they're here on purpose and that they can actually find and follow that purpose. Because once we are actually aligned with that, we are not out to harm, feel guilty for, or to feel betrayed by the world. Instead, we're actually showing up every day, excited and engaged. And I think the more that we have people doing that, the better off the entire world will be because people will be on purpose doing what they're meant to do here in the world.
I love that. And I could not agree with you more. We all are here with a specific mission. It's just like identifying that mission and being unapologetic about it. And it just like stay in your lane. Be willing to share what other people are doing. If they are really good at something, don't be afraid to share that because it doesn't
Absolutely.
take away from you. It's like all these lights shining.
It's true. It's true. There's this great line. I can't remember where I heard it, but I it always kind of strikes me, which is, if I'm okay with me, I don't have to find fault with you.
Yes.
And I think that's the underlying, really that's the mission, which is if we are all okay with ourselves, then we're not out here looking to tear anyone else down or feel, threatened by anyone else. And like you said, we're here to really see the best in each other. I think there couldn't be anything wrong with that, really.
Me either. It would just like
Let's
solve
go.
so many problems if we could just get over ourselves and not feel bad about being good at what we're good at.
Absolutely. I think that, I primarily work with women. And so I think that that particular piece of the puzzle is the biggest challenge, because historically and societally, it is, we're called upon to dampen ourselves and to not be so brassy or so bold or so bossy. And so I think, as we grow up, we kind of wear that cloak. And I spend a lot of my time with my clients just, helping them remove that. And because when we remove it, then we can have this limitless expression of self that we're really intended to do. Like we are meant to shine as brightly as we can as the beacons of what our purpose is into the world. And if we don't do that, then the harm that we're creating is that we are having a system inside of our bodies, right? Like we're physically holding in all this energy and it comes out in places we don't want it to, and that could be physically, that could be mentally. We talk about burnout, like that can look like burnout. And really that is just that energy being kind of trapped and not allowed to move through as it's meant to, into our daily lives, into what we're doing, into how we're working on our world, and even in our regular daily lives, like how we're showing up as women and people and leaders.
And I do you find that well, let me put it this way. I notice sometimes that in an effort to not be so bigger than life in one area, we tend to try to like sprinkle it out over a bunch of different areas, like we're supposed to be really good at all these different things. And so instead of just letting all of our energy go where it's really meant to go, it sort of haphazardly is like trying to squish into these other areas. And so we're inappropriately expressing ourselves in different ways
Ooh.
when we were really supposed to be using all of this powerful energy. And it's really powerful to do this one thing.
Absolutely. I think that one of the keys there too is to realize it's going to come out. Like we can just say, it's going to find a way out. And
Mhm.
so, yeah, I think that, it's going to, I call it like energy leaks. Look for the energy leaks. Like, where is this energy leaking into other areas of your life? And how are you managing it? Like you said, sometimes we're not managing it and we don't understand, but it really comes with this territory of understanding that whatever you are, whoever you are, however you're really highly attuned to be, that's more than enough. And I think oftentimes we're like, oh, that's enough. I'm like, no, I think that's more than enough. I think that's perfect. And all those people that are trying to look for the shiny object perfect don't realize that true perfection comes from expression of self at the fullest. There's nothing
Yeah.
better than that. And to your point, like getting that alignment and then putting that energy into your, what I like to call your authentic role, that's when things get really kind of magical. Um, recently I had a call with clients and I was saying to them, you know, this idea that your nudges, your own internal intuitive guidance, because of course, a lot of the work I do is intuitive with my clients. I'm like, no, that's the nudge toward your version of success, not anyone else's, your version of success. And once you do put that energy into it and follow it, there is a lot of times when people do that and the next thing they do is see like this huge shift, growth, a new client, something massive shifts on their landscape, and they're like, oh my gosh. And it feels miraculous, but it's simple. I mean, I said it the other day, I go, it's just math. It's like you put all the right numbers into all the right places and the system will take care of itself. But when you don't, as you said, then you're diluting everything else, including the one thing you're meant to be doing.
Math is magic.
And math is magic.
Science we can't explain.
Exactly.
So, when it comes to building big businesses, and
Mm.
we're talking seven figures and more, it's different than for people who are just sort of starting out or maybe have a few clients and they can handle all the details themselves. Talk about the shift section. Because I know a lot of people that are like, oh, I would love to be making $1 million a year. And but they just don't know what they don't know.
Right. And I think also it's interesting. I have clients, I've been doing this for almost, well, it's just 28 years. Over 30, 1994. So it's been over 30 years
Mhm.
now. And I've had clients from like, just trying to get to their first, 10,000. And I've had clients that are trying to get to the first six figures. And there is a difference when once you pass that six-figure mark. Most people get stuck in the multi six figures because
Mhm.
they're still doing and showing up in the same energy and efforting of the six-figure business owner, right? And so what they need to understand is that in that early stage you were creating something, you were building something, and so there's a lot more momentum and heavy effort in the creation of that six figure business. That's your responsibility. And the moment you pass that threshold, if you are not ready, and this is kind of what you're kind of alluding to, if you're not ready to actually build teams and systems and structures that take work off of your plate, right? So it's a change of identity. It's about being the CEO and the leader versus the practitioner and the business owner and the business runner, So I think that there's the identity shift that has to happen. And then there's the understanding of how that business is designed and built to scale without you and your and just had a client today. She said, I realize that my ego wants my hands into everything. Like, and that micromanaging, it actually keeps your business small and stuck and kind of circling that maybe 152 to $300,000, which is great. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you really want to grow, you have to understand that there's a different identity you need to embody. And that identity is the CEO leader who gets to oversee things, decide things, create things, vision things, and build the team and the systems that will support you in doing
Exactly.
it.
I have another point that I would like to discuss with you, and that's that not everybody has to want to build a business like that. And you may find yourself in a place where you're like doing all the things and rushing to build something. But if you don't know what your goal is, I think people run into problems there too. Because some people really don't want to build a huge business. Like I
Right.
personally don't want to build a huge business. I don't, I know what's involved and I don't, I have a little ceiling right there. I recognize the ceiling. I've cemented it over. It's not even glass. It's cement. But
Right.
that's where I am in my life and I know what I want. But most people, when they get started, they're just like,
Yeah.
let's run for the sky. And
Right. I think that this idea, like this kind of goes back to what we started with, which is if you really do understand. So for me, it's like helping my clients understand what is your unique, what I call your unique life purpose. And that means all of your life, which includes your business and your life. I think it's a 360 wheel, and we need to make sure we're looking at all factors. And if we do that, to your point, we don't want to give up the freedom, the family time, the spiritual time to chase the dollars over everything else. That's never, it's certainly with me. I never want that for my clients. And I'm always very aware that that understanding, when you know what that looks like for you, uniquely you, like not somebody else's version. And I see this a lot of times with coaches because there's such a platform out there for like how to be a coach or how to do coaching or how to get your 6 figure or your 7 figure coaching business off the, like there's such a structure that's out there that they're looking at. I have to bring them back to self and I have to say, as you just said, is this really like what is the ultimate vision for your life? Because if we
mhm,
start there, then we know whether or not a 7 figure, multi 7 figure business is even interesting to you because it takes a lot of effort. It still takes effort and it takes a certain person who that idea, that vision is very clear to them that that's what they want. And oftentimes, because it feels like that's supposed success, what happens is people get trapped in this idea that I have to get there if I want my business to be a success. And I say, you need to know what having your life be successful is before you decide what your business does, because your business should feed your life, not the other way around. And so when we know what that is, then we can actually build the structure of your business to support it. And maybe one day you'll get there and you decide, right? Maybe something happens because life does change.
mhm.
However, I agree with you. I think that most people don't even take the time to recognize what they actually want as their vision of their life and their business together.
Yeah. And it's really easy to get sucked into you're working a lot of hours and you're piecemealing. A lot of times they piecemeal
Mm,
stuff together and so they're doing stuff here and there and the other place and nothing's cohesive and clients are sporadic,
yeah.
especially in the beginning and even for people that have been around for a long time and they're definitely like, no, I don't want to do bro marketing because somehow that's gotten a bad reputation and in some cases deservedly so, but for the most part you are going to have, if you are going to scale, And the bro marketing thing is kind of sour grapes in a lot of cases. Um, sorry, my hands get raised. Um, in that you have to build teams in order to scale to the extent that these people are scaling. And it's a business model. And, if you want to have a big business, and these some of these pro marketers, that's what they're doing. That's their stated position. I want a huge business. I want to help as many people as I can. And the way I'm going to do this is X, Y, and Z. And I've got these teams in place, and these teams are trained to accomplish a certain task.
Right.
Usually that's to part you from your money. I, they're good at it. I,
Yeah.
I I've been a closer before. I know what the training is behind it. I know the psychology behind it, and you can choose to go down that path or not. But don't just because somebody else decided that that was the direction they're going to go in doesn't mean it's wrong for them.
Right. I mean, I think I would agree and disagree. I think that part of the challenge for most the women that I work with or people in the
Mhm.
wellness industry or who are really trying to change how we show up to doing this kind of work. I think the challenge is the kind of what you just said, I think, which is considering that the fundamental goal is to part people with their money, right? Versus to help and heal and support people, the service side of things. I think that that's where the idea or the concept of bro marketing kind of like, again, I think it's just a matter of like people were doubling down on a process without understanding the value of building a team that actually could look different, which is how do you create more structure so that you serve your clients better, not just reach more clients, reach more people, and that you can take some of that structure and utilize it in a whole different way, which is yeah, there are tactical, yeah, my background early on was operations, so there are tactical pieces of the operations of a business that make sense because it allows you to scale and grow. Like it just, having the systems in place, having team support in place that are experts in what they do so that they can do what they're meant to do faster and get things to be more efficient, not only for you as the owner but also for your clients, your patients, whomever, to come through the process. I think that's a very good thing to consider. And as far as like the marketing aspect, being able to be visible and have that exposure, there are some tactics out there that just makes sense. That again, we go back to the math. It just makes math sense. And I
Mhm.
think the thing that's been missing, and the thing that I really try to imbue with my clients is, and all of this is sitting over the top of the one thing, I saw your sign, Coach's Alchemist is like, is the alchemy of changing the energy around what it is we're creating from chasing to attracting, and from creating energetically this vision that is what you do desire rather than what you don't. Because those functions inside of this experience of creating a business, if they're void, it
Mhm.
really goes off the rails. And if they're not connected, then again we go back to the energy leaks where you're, like you said, you're doing everything and nothing's working. You're doing all the things and still nothing's working. And it's like there is a balance there between the two, and it takes awareness and it takes intention. And I think it's absolutely possible, to have this idea that you can do less and make more money and do the primary thing you're meant to do. And sometimes people don't realize like it can't be that simple. I don't want to call it easy, that's simple. And it's like actually that's when it gets really good, is when you do simplify it down to that.
Yeah, just I call it the rule of ones. Just doing the one thing instead of all the things. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
we're multi-passionate. We're human beings. We come that way. But
Yes.
we can't be multi-passionate and have a business. you bring all of these passions to your business because they're part of who you are. They're part of your business. But just like the one thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And oftentimes that, like you said before, like this, the distraction of, oh, well, so and so's a wellness coach too, and she's doing this thing. I should do that thing. It's like, why? Like, vet it. Does it make sense? Does it apply to what you're doing? Can it be incorporated in what you're doing? But really, the focus piece, that's one I run into with most of my clients, is like, focus. Just focus on the thing. Give it time, give it space to breathe and grow. The other, thing I always say is like, when you plant a seed, you can't dig it up every day to find out why it's not growing. It's like, it's just logic. Like, that's not going to work. You need to give, need to nurture it, and you need to do your part. And then you need to trust and have faith that if you were inspired to have this idea, there was a reason for that. And just keep focusing, like you said, and keep following on that one thing to its fruition.
And understanding of the fundamentals, I
Mm,
I deal with my clients a lot about this. It's the fundamentals of, what does your client journey look like? And do you have a client journey? You'd be amazed how many people do not have a client journey. They're like, I can
yeah.
help everybody with everything. So,
Yeah. Yeah. There's a recipe for disaster in that for sure. And it's, I think that for me, it's like, I look at people and say, yeah, that's the beauty of it. So what do you want to help them with? Right? What is that one thing that when you're doing it, it feels like nothing? You could do it every day, all day, nonstop, because that's when you're going to be at your best. And back to when we talk about energy, that's when you put all your energy into that basket and
mhm.
you show up and you shine, and then everybody wants to work with you because you're doing that at such a high vibration and level.
Yeah. And you make it look easy.
Yeah.
And when you make it look easy, other people get confidence that, hey, look how easy they make it look. I can do that too. All I've got to do is, whatever it is they tell me to do, I'm going to get there.
Yeah.
But as that person who does it very easily, you need to look back and say, okay, this is the starting point. When somebody
Mm,
comes into my world, they need a place where they're not, they may want to get to this spot, but there's logical steps that they need to go through to get there, and
right.
be okay with wherever it is that they want to start in the process. Take their
Absolutely.
hand and move them along. And if you develop systems where this can happen more automatically,
Yeah.
where it's this, you're not holding everybody's hand as they're going through it, in some places where it makes sense. And I've talked to coaches and entrepreneurs out there who like automate most of what they do
Mm-hmm.
because it makes sense in their business model. And that, everybody's welcome to be wherever they want to be. But
Yeah.
developing that journey really helps with everything else, and it really helps you get clear on where your path is.
Absolutely. And I think that as you were just saying, like this idea, like the journey that you're taking them on and utilizing, especially now with AI, utilizing tools and resources to make it not only easier for them, but easier for you to run your business. Because as you said, in that under six figures to six figures to mid six figures, you do have to manage a lot of things. So everywhere you can mitigate some of that responsibility and time, the better. Um, because when you then show up in the point where it only can be you, right? Like it has to be you doing the work, then you've got more reserves to do it.
Mhm.
You're showing up with more resource to be there and do your role or your function better. And I think nowadays more people are comfortable. It's more expected, even that some of these pieces will be automated to some degree. And I think that sometimes the clients that I work with, and maybe this is true for some of the people that are listening for you as coaches, we think that what makes us different or stand out is that extra attention. However, if you want to grow to seven figures, you need to find where that attention is like best leveraged and where you can actually take tools and resources, and whether that's AI or automations, which, there's a lot of automations out there that are very simple, but they actually make a big difference in, like you said, that journey for your client. Then you can actually embrace the change and grow if you want to. You're right. You really want to. Then that's kind of it's kind of necessary that you have some of those tools and resources at your ready. And starting now, if you're listening to this and you're like, okay, I'm making a few hundred thousand, this is the time to start moving that into your system, because it's not always easy to go wholesale flip. Right? You can just take on one piece at a time, one step at a time, and automate it and move through it so that you don't feel so overwhelmed. Because that's the other side of it. People feel like, oh, I have to figure this all out. It's like, just take one piece, like the one first step or something, and get it all clean and done, because it's going to serve you down the line no matter what. And you'll get to be in the process of creating that and say, okay, like this works for me or it doesn't. More often than not, sometimes people just like throw up their hands, with baby out with the bathwater, and like, I'm going to just start all over, new website, new this, that. Like, I'm always cautioning them, just do one thing, see how it goes, make sure you got all the bugs, and then move on to the next thing. And it can happen quickly, but it's going to be better for your actual internal system not to be managing 100 different changes all at once. That can make its own, self-fulfilling prophecy of failure right there. Yeah.
A little part in hell.
like, don't do that. Yeah. And I say that from experience watching people do it. Like, no, 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 no. Let's
Yeah.
slow down. Yeah.
So, what is the biggest mistake you see seasoned entrepreneurs make when they're trying to scale to seven figures?
Ooh, we've talked about a lot of them. I say that the one I haven't really touched on, I think, is the biggest challenge, is not understanding that identity shift and the mindset it takes to be a different kind of leader at that next level. And so most people aren't prepared. They don't give themselves, or create a pattern of taking care of themselves in that way. They want to just push more, do more, instead of really resource themselves more. So I would say, like, really understanding that it's an identity shift, and that identity shift requires more self-assessed and self-supported activities so that you can be resourced, giving from an overflowing cup to this next big expansion.
I've I've seen it out there where when you start talking about growing into those kinds of levels, that your business becomes its own entity.
Mm-hmm.
You as the owner, you may be the owner, you may not be the owner anymore at that point. It could be that you're just the major shareholder. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, at that point, you can go public, you can do all kinds of different things, but and you can sell your business when
Right.
you are no longer the business. And it usually starts around $1 million or more in income for the business. It opens different avenues for you for potential for what you're doing. Whereas when you are the business, if you die, then
Right.
the
It's
business
true.
dies too.
Yeah, absolutely. Like this idea of like moving out of that role of being the primary caretaker of the business to the one who is the visionary. And then, as you said, moving on from that, who's the one who's holding the vision, either as a shareholder or, an advisor, depending on what kind of role you get to and how, beyond the seven figures you go. But between even like 600,000 and a million, that shift should already be happening. Like, if you're wise and you hear us, like, understanding that that's what's next means that, part of this thing is you built this business. It was your baby. I don't care what kind of person you are. Like, you put blood, sweat, and tears into it somehow, some way, and you started it. And so oftentimes it is that understanding that you're going to have to let it go now. Like, it's not going to be under your care every day 24/7 anymore. And so there is a mindset shift that has to happen. And oftentimes that's where I go back to people like, what is the ultimate vision for your life? Because if the ultimate vision for your life is you to travel the world with your spouse or your partner and see all these things and spend all this time doing and experiencing wonderful adventures, you don't have to be on the phone 24/7 or in Zoom, even half the day. You have to be free from it. And so that changes how you show up, and it changes the kind of decisions you make and how you start to see that conversation going from I will do this to we will do this to it will be done by the crew. There's that level of internal decision making that has to happen. And yeah, I think it's a very, very important shift that people usually need to make past 6 and on. Yeah.
And I will point out that it doesn't always happen. And there are people that are really super driven, and I'll name names. Alex Ramosi. I heard him say one time that he never goes on vacation.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, you're modeling a recipe for burnout for everybody that thinks they're going to be like you.
They want to be Alex. Yeah. And I think again, you're right. It's just that's kind of the challenge. There are oftentimes, and I will say there's people that I've come across, you know, that are 7+ multi 7 figure, and it's clear that their message says, hey, I'm traveling, but when you're with them and they're traveling, they're working. Right. So it's like there's a misalignment and a disconnect there from the external version of that story to the internal workings of their business. That's not something I aspire to help my clients create. And I think that part of that is being honest, like I call real talk. It's time for some real talk. Like you have to choose. And if you want to work 4 days a week and you want to have 3 days off every week, then your business needs to look this way. It has to have these systems and structures in place. And yeah, maybe there are people out there that just working makes them happy. Great. Right? That's okay. But it's important then you say that, in my opinion. It's important
Yeah,
then that you portray that that's why. It's not because it's the ideal, it's your ideal. And again, we go back to like if everybody were doing what was ideal to them, we'd be okay. We'd be
yeah,
okay. We just don't have to look at it as like that's your aspiration if it's not. If it's not,
yeah.
it's okay
And it's
too.
okay.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
the whole point. It's okay for your business to look however you want it to look. But if you're looking to scale it, if that is your goal, then perhaps talking to Leah might be a good idea for you. And how does that look, Leah?
Well, thank you. Yes, definitely. Let's talk. If any of this has kind of hit a little alarm bell for you, I'd happily speak to you about like what that might look like. So of course you can reach out to me on oracleonpurpose.com. You can use Coach Lia Dunlap anywhere on the internet. You'll find me, but oracleonpurpose.com will get you right to me. Feel free to reach out to us. We have a free assessment on our site where you can kind of go through this process and see, hey, maybe there are some pieces of this that you need to have a conversation around. And we're happy to do that because my goal is to help, all people. Like that's my ultimate goal. It's like if I could teach everyone in the world what their unique life purpose was and help them find and follow it, that's my bliss. So I'm here to help. I'm here to help you see what your version of that success looks like and help you figure out a way to get there.
I love that. And you have a free community for people.
I do. We have a limitless life community because that's really ultimately to me what it's all about. And that community we meet, we have opportunities and tools and resources, but every month we meet and we kind of go deeper into some of these topics. So you get some support from me. It's a very hands-on workshop kind of masterclass that we do every month, and it is free to access. So we'll make sure you get access to that as well if you're interested. Or you can go to the limitlesslifeclub.org and find out about the process of joining us full time.
Perfect, perfect. I really appreciate you joining us today.
Thank you so much, Jill. It's been a great conversation.
As to learn more about Leah and to gain access to her free community, the Limitless Life Club, please visit Oracle on Purpose. And you said .org will get them to the
OracleOnPurpose.com is my main site, but
Mhm.
limitlesslifeclub.org is all about the club itself, the internal club.
.org.
Yeah.
Perfect. And we'll make sure we put those links in the show notes below.
Perfect.
Thank you for joining us today. If you're ready to amplify your voice, monetize your mission, and start attracting premium clients, your next step is simple. Head to thecoachesalchemist.com and schedule your free client acquisition audit. Join us for our next episode as we share what others are doing to raise the global frequency. And remember, change begins with you. You have all the power to change the world. Start today and get visible.